If you grew up in an unstable household, you might be super familiar with daydreaming. Constantly living in your head, imagining a life that feels so out of reach. Hi, my name is Eileen. I'm a first-gen Latina that grew up in a chaotic, low-income household, but I still managed to achieve my dream reality, all by implementing my core system frameworks that I implement in every area of my life to be able to show up as the best version of myself and live my dream reality. So if you're interested in building a life that you truly love, I recommend watching my videos on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, and also look out for my TikTok and Instagram videos as well. I'll link those down below. I personally am super familiar with daydreaming. I grew up in a big, fruitful city, New York, and despite that, I lived in the outskirts of the city because I grew up in a low-income neighborhood and a very chaotic household. And because of that, though there were opportunities and resources in New York City, those felt so out of reach for me. It felt like my circumstances wouldn't allow me to actually have access to those opportunities. I still had this burning desire within me though to change my circumstances no matter what it took. Because of that, I made a conscious decision to figure out a way to create structure that I didn't have that would remove any chance of me not being able to achieve that dream reality. I forced myself to create a plan that would remove any opportunity for excuses or for negotiating, that would remove any obstacles that would get in the way from me achieving that dream reality that I was constantly thinking about. Because of that, I came up with this really simple weekly planning method that landed me my dream body, my dream career, and my dream apartment. So sit down and give yourself a planning block so that you can plan out your week using this method to be able to stay on top of your goals and dreams. So step one here is to audit your time and energy. First, lay out every area in your life where you're currently allocating time and energy. That could be themes like career or fitness or studying. And next to that, also lay out the priority areas that you want to allocate time and energy for based on your goals and your dreams and your priorities. So say that you are looking to achieve a certain fitness aesthetic, then maybe your time and energy that you'll want to allocate is going to be towards fitness. And compare those two sections. Compare where you're currently allocating your time and energy to where you want to allocate it. And from here, you're going to have to make decisions on where you want to deprioritize your current time and energy allocation and reallocate it into your priorities. Sometimes that might mean that you want to build a business, but you're spending a lot of time on a crafting hobby, or maybe you're spending a lot of time reading and you really want to have more time for building a business. You don't necessarily have to stop reading altogether, but maybe you take some of the time that you spend towards reading and you instead move it to building a business. You might even evaluate some areas and see that you can probably outsource it. Maybe you spend a lot of time grocery shopping and you want to instead switch to a grocery delivery app that will easily get your groceries to your door so you're not spending time there. Or maybe you're spending a lot of time deep cleaning your house and you want to outsource it to a cleaner. And then you can use those gaps of time and reallocate it into those top priority areas that you want to spend more time on. Next, you'll want to time block for your time and energy. So in this step, you'll want to identify exactly where in the week you're going to place those time blocks for those specific priority areas. So say, going off of that example where you want to build a business, now you've already decided that, you know what, I'm going to take 3 hours out of my reading time and I'm going to allocate it towards building a business. Now you'll want to distribute those 3 hours throughout your week. So say Tuesday you want to allocate 1 hour towards building a business. But you're not going to say, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. I'm building a business. You're going to be very specific and intentional with what you're doing in that time block. So maybe your step one is becoming clear on your business plan or your business idea. And so maybe in that 1 hour time block for this week, you can even just do like a brainstorming session with yourself on what the idea looks like, idea itself, what it would look like, the kind of users that you want to attract, the kind of products that you want to sell. And maybe you just spend 1 hour just brainstorming. And then maybe for the next day, you think about your marketing strategy. And so you dive deeper into an intentional marketing research. Dedicating that time and energy to your priority areas in time blocks and being very intentional in defining what you will do in that time block. And in this section, you'll also want to be very intentional about where exactly it is that you place that time block. So if you're someone that you feel the most creative and you're able to really ideate the most in the morning, then maybe you'll want to set that time block for the time that you wake up. Or maybe if your goal is to have a more gym-oriented lifestyle, then maybe you'll want to intentionally allocate your gym in the morning because you don't want to give yourself any excuses to not go to the gym after work. So just being very intentional and honest with yourself on when the best times will work throughout the week to be able to allocate those time blocks. And as a last step here, it's really just to show up. So honestly, a lot of the times this could be the hardest part, but the point of having steps 1 and 2 in this method is that it's really supposed to make it a lot easier for you to show up because you're removing any potential obstacles, you're intentionally allocating your time, you're removing time and from certain areas and reallocating it. So really you're setting yourself up for success so that showing up should be easier, but sometimes it is still a little bit difficult to do that even when you've set aside the time, just because you're not used to it. So really just take the time to make a promise to yourself that when the time comes, you're gonna show up. And honestly, as you get into the flow of things, day 1, day 2, day 3, after about a week or so, you're just going to feel like it's so natural and ingrained into your identity and who you are that it really won't seem as difficult anymore. It'll start to become second nature to you. Remember that as you continue to show up, it'll continue to validate the person that you are becoming and serve as external reinforcement, because you're going to consistently see improvements. Going back to the business idea, you're going to see your idea grow and just become a lot more fleshed out with detail, and it'll feel a lot more attainable because you're actually working on things. You'll slowly start to realize too that your mind will feel so much less clutter because you're actually doing the things that have been sitting in your head. So honestly, as you go through this process, you're just gonna feel a lot lighter. You're gonna feel a lot more aligned with your purpose, and just really lean into the satisfaction of showing up consistently. I find that there's so much value and confidence and just like reassurance that you build in yourself by showing up when you make promises to yourself. And it really just becomes something, it really becomes a process that you fall in love with. A lot of us spend a lot of time daydreaming instead of finding ways to actually put those dreams into action. And really that's what this method is for. It's to stop living in your head and start acting on the things that you want out of your life. So I really hope that this video was helpful and that you're able to implement it as you build out the life that you want. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, and I can't wait to keep building together.